Okay, welcome back, folks. Connecting Dots 2 here. And I just want to touch base here and let you know what's taking place. So I'm going to be referring to the video that we watched, or we went live last night. And turns out, I had quite a few people show up. I was quite impressed because it was kind of a last minute thing when I saw a fraudster Kevin Blanch's video on the dead whales. Anyhow, long story short, I made a 49-minute hangout there. So if you're new to this YouTube channel, Connecting Dots 2, and you don't know what I've done in the past as far as Fukushima, I ramble on in this one here, give you a little bit of information. Other than that, I deal with specifically how Kevin Blanch was, on his latest video was showing a whale washed up on the beach on California. And again, it's Fukushima. No testing, nothing, and it's Fukushima. Everything's Fukushima, of course. Anything washes up dead, falls from the sky, it's Fukushima, guaranteed. No one wants a test. I think that's one of the big things that many of you have appreciated is that, not only do I make the videos, but I actually took my time and my own money and drove back and forth across Canada with two Geiger counters, an analog one and a digital one, altogether worth about $4,000 worth of radiation testing equipment. And I made videos live as I'm doing the test. Many of you appreciate that, and I totally get it. And as I said, that's why my next goal up here, as you can see up on the right-hand side there, it says gamma spectrometer funding. That's my next goal, folks. I've said that, and I don't care if you send me money. If you want to help out, great. If you don't want to, whatever. The fact is, many of you want the same thing as I do when you come out the video. You're looking for information. You want facts. You don't want someone's face who's just going to be blah, 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 and never prove anything, or at least not connect the dots for you. And I think that's kind of another thing that many of you appreciate, that it's not my face. I'm showing the articles. So in last night's video, this is a big waker-upper here, folks. If anyone who's listening to this video and you're just coming across me for the first time and you think that Fukushima killed all the whales in the Pacific Ocean, or even the fish for that matter, you may want to go watch that. One of the things I forgot to mention in last night's hangout is that over at my website here, connectingdots1.com, there's a thread in here on the Japan Olympics. And in that thread, I included some articles showing how fish in Fukushima were showing up with more and more radiation every time they're doing a test. Like I said, I've been following this for a long time. So the name of this thread was JOC faces tough Fukushima radiation and Olympic questions. And I was asking folks, it was only 2 people that voted, but that's all right. Should Japan host the 2020 Olympics, considering there's 3 ongoing meltdowns at Fukushima? So I'm not even going to get into that, and you don't have to reply to it. What I want to deal with is more specifically, I forgot to mention in last night's show, how when I was covering these stories, I was getting stories showing that the fish caught off the Fukushima prefecture, the ones that were caught, what was it again, the distance? I think it was 60 or 20 kilometers. Yeah, right here. They were caught about 20 kilometers to the north of the plant. And if you know how the tides run along that shoreline in Japan, then you're already aware that the tide goes, that's right, north from Fukushima. That's why this whole theory that the Fukushima radiation, when it was released out into the ocean, sunk straight down to the bottom and beelined right across for North America. Yeah. If you do more research on the top water currents, you would have found out that they were actually heading north, which is the whole reason why, if you're watching my videos, at one point I showed in, I think it was in maybe 2012, maybe 2013. I'd have to go back and look, but I shared an article with you that the Russians themselves were sending out a team on a ship, And that's all they were going to do, is chase down Fukushima radiation in the islands that they happen to own just, north of Fukushima. So I think the Russians were on top of it also. They know which way these currents were heading. And I wish I could remember the islands. Kyron, you'd have to go look on my YouTube channel, Connecting Dots 2, in my Fukushima playlist right here. It's called Fukushima Day. And in that playlist, somewhere down in that list, you'll find the Russian story. As I said, I can't remember. I've been doing this since day one, since as soon as the meltdown took place. In fact, I've got footage here before the meltdown even occurred. Like I said, I've been following this since the tsunami, since day one. I believe that's the main reason why YouTube took down my Connecting Dots 1 YouTube channel, because I had a immense collection of stories that I've been covering. And anybody who wanted to get informed, it was a one-stop shop. Anyways, in this video right here, whoopsie daisy, went a little too far. Where was that again? Number 34, Fukushima Day 1044. Okay, in this one specifically, this footage, which is Canada's leading nuclear expert, Dr. Gordon Edwards, is interviewed by CTV, I believe it was, and this interview took place, I can't remember exactly, you'd have to go look it up, but it was before, if I'm not mistaken, it's before the meltdown took place, roughly 3 days. And at some point in the interview, people are asked to call in. And coincidentally, as I said before, I live on the West Coast. Someone called in from the West Coast. Pat, in fact, the night I'm watching this interview, that I taped it, I should say, my friend Pat is sitting beside me. We kind of chuckled. I'm like, I looked over at him right away as I'm holding the camera. I'm like, oh, well, Pat, did you call in? Anyways, long story short, Pat asks, if Fukushima goes into a meltdown, should we be concerned of the radioactive particles crossing the jet stream and dumping right on us that happen to live here on the West Coast? And Dr. Gordon Edwards goes on to saying, yeah, absolutely, yes. He goes on even to talk about when Chernobyl meltdown took place, that Health Canada and the scientists here were finding radioactive particles from Chernobyl up in the Inuit. That's right, northern Canada. The radiation had gone around the globe and had fallen up there on those folks. So, and it's very good that you folks stay on top of it. I haven't been making these videos as often as I have, and the main reason why is because, folks, I hope you realize that the strongest concentration of radiation has already been released. So the mass kill-off that they're all telling us coming down, well, unfortunately, we got the mass kill-off already, and it was mostly the children. If you're watching me back then, I spoke about how after Chernobyl, the next, I believe, 3 months thereafter, they associated roughly 14,000 infant mortality deaths in the USA, specifically in Canada where I live. I mentioned in last night's show that in my province in British Columbia, we had a spike of 62% after the Fukushima meltdown. So that was your big mass killing that Dana's essentially trying to warn everyone about. But this already went down, folks. And it's funny. I've already exposed him before, and in his latest rambling, he actually goes after another YouTuber, Sophia Smallstorm. And I found it highly unusual. Like I said, I've been making these videos. I've been on YouTube since 2009. I've been making Fukushima since day one. Prior to that, I was into the economy sector. I was making gold and silver videos every day in late 2009, 2010, and up until the big blast. Anyways, long story short, I mean the big blast, the rise, the big spike up to the highs here in 2011 in gold and silver. And thereafter, coincidentally, Fukushima went down in March of 2011. So kind of switch gears. I'm like, okay, this is a big major event. I got to focus on this one here and stay on top of it. I know at some point people will wake up and they'll appreciate someone who knows all this stuff inside out. Anyways, long story short, I found it very, I'm like, what's going on here? This guy won't even refer to me. And I'm speaking about Dana Durnford here right now. His YouTube channel is Beautiful Girl by Dana. He won't even dare refer to me as Connecting Dots 2, Connecting Dots 3, Silver Gold Man. He's an absolute coward. That's why I said he's a coward. In 2014, 2015, both years, I invited him out to debate me. A $3,000 debate. Yeah, it was $1,000 per reactor. And why is that? Some of you are wondering, why would you? Well, it's because he's going around telling all these people here that the reactors were all blown to pieces and there's nothing left. The fuel pools are all gone. The guy doesn't understand that there were no floors up here. There were just walls because there was cranes that were moving back and forth. And the top floor is actually the third floor. This is part of the I think he does it on purpose. This is how YouTube kind of works. They all kind of throw a different gear so they can all grab their different people from one angle of or another. And that's what I'm about to get in here when I'm going to deal with Sophia Smallstorm, because I found it awfully strange. I'm like, what's going on here? This guy puts a girl right in the name of the title. What's going on? I could not understand why would he do that. So I had to go look. He says in the video here that we can click there and go to her YouTube channel. I'm like, well, that's perfect, because I've said that before. The circle jerk of corruption, the fraud on YouTube, they all interconnect. Do you remember that? Well, if you haven't heard that, if you pay attention, please, because it's one of the big factors, the big key points here that I've been able to isolate specifically on YouTube since 2009. Time and time again, there's always a connection. Connect the dots and figure out what's going on, or else you'll say stupid and you'll just keep you going around that big, down the rabbit hole. You're not going down the rabbit hole. They keep you dumbed down. So essentially, I've said to people 100 times on Silver Gold Man, as well as Connecting Dots too, always go check out who the other YouTube channel is. So again, we have another person here, shows her face. Okay, you're saying, oh, that's nothing to go on. Okay, you're right. Okay. Oh, okay, Sage, say the Sage of K. What? A radio hour. Okay, does that make you a little suspicious? Maybe a little bit? No? Okay, well, hold on a second. Like I said, the truth is always in the pudding, and on YouTube, the pudding is on the right-hand side in the featured channels. That's where the pudding is. So can you folks kind of see the eye here? Hope you can kind of see that eye. Does that look like an eye? This is what I've been saying. They let on here. They're okay. How they're all interconnected. The Freemason group, your Illuminati. That's it. So essentially, Red Ice Radio. Ba-boom! I got it. I knew it. I knew damn well I just had to come out to our YouTube channel and I would immediately find out what's going on. So Red Ice Radio, they're connected with who? Kevin and Arnett there, that the guy I've been speaking about in last night's video, how Thomas Ackerman had unknowingly, yeah, basically called out his buddy. What a ding dong. Anyways, I just can't get over these clowns. That's how easy it is when you just pay attention to what the steps they take. You can easily debunk them. Anyway, so Red Ice Radio, the other big thing is, even if you don't know Kevin Arnett, you must have heard of the web bots and the $600 silver, and the US dollar is going to be worth nothing. People are going to be running in the streets and are going to be breaking down in the gates of the rich, and we're going to be, anyways, trust me, the bullshit has been going on nonstop since in the web bots, and that's one of the key things I want to say right now to those of you that have been listening to me, and you're on board. You realize that the Fukushima stories that these guys promote is bullshit. They can't isolate what the real problems were. However, we have to give a little bit of leeway to those that are not in the know yet. Okay. And I'm saying that right now because I've been forgetting to say this for a long time. And the reason I know this is important is because I've received many emails in the past since 2014, ever since I've gone out hardcore after Dana to prove to you that since August of 2014 that the Pacific Ocean isn't dead. And folks, if you think it's dead, hang tight. Okay, I got some stories on that. Okay, back to the reality here. So essentially, I've gone after him ever since then. I kind of lost my train of thought here, unfortunately, and hopefully it'll come back. And I lost it, unfortunately. I lost my train of thought. So one of the things I did notice, I'll go back to where I was at here, and that's about Sophia, and hopefully it'll come back to me, is the fact that these people interconnect. And I'm hoping this is going to, as I go over this, and it's going to come back to me. So let's go back here to Red Ice Radio. And essentially what I was sharing with you there is the fact that Red Ice Radio is connected up with the web bots. And the web bots are the people calling out the end of the world. And ironically, one of the things associated with Fukushima is that the web bots were predicting that there would be a mass evacuation out of the West Coast. Okay, I just remembered where I was at when I got right to that point there. We were speaking about the web bots, and it spurred this other thought that I just had to deal with you, to share with you folks. Look, I almost forgot about it again, and that's referring to the emails that I've received ever since I've been debunking Dana since 2014. And those emails are regular listeners like yourselves, okay, that have they got sucked into Dana's story, okay, folks? And then at some point, after listening to me with an open mind, they're like, shit, yes, the guy is right. You know, just like I'm going to share the stories. People want the stories. They don't want to hear doom and gloom. They want to know what's the real truth, right? Well, many people have woken up and they send me emails. Obviously, not all of them, okay, because I'd have thousands of emails. You saw by Dana's views, they've dropped by the thousands. But I've received, if I didn't receive 30 to 50, I didn't receive one. Okay, to give you an idea, I don't know how many, but there was an awful lot of them. Okay, they just kept coming in at different times. And the main theme that people kept saying is they felt foolish for having been taken by this person. So the point that I want to make here to all of you that are on board and you realize what the truth is, please do not be hard to these people in the comment sections. Okay? Please don't be harsh on them. There's obviously, he does have his group of trolls. These people will never change their mind. It doesn't matter if we tested every damn fish that ends up in a restaurant or your seafood package or your fish fillet. It doesn't matter if we tested everything and everything came out with nothing but small little traces of radiation from the nuclear testing, along with the odd here and there radiation from Fukushima found in samples. They would still think that everything is dead and it's totally littered. We can't change those people's minds. I hope you realize that. But the ones that don't necessarily comment and maybe suddenly will come in and leave a comment, you know, not necessarily being harsh towards me in my comment section I'm speaking now, but, you know, maybe questioning what I'm saying. Please don't be hard on these people. We want these people, we want to edge them towards the truth. We don't want to scare these people. We don't want to be rude and harsh towards them. You all heard how Dana cursed and swore and, you know, was going to track down everyone's IP. And if you didn't believe him, he was going to track down your IP, find out where you live. All kinds of threats that came out of that guy's mouth here, and we've got it all on video. That's the best of it. That's why he's up on these sections 264 under the Canadian Criminal Act, is because of all these threats that he's put out there. They're all captured on video here. And essentially what I was trying to get at is, don't be hard on them. We want these people to come and wake up to the truth, and at some point they will be part of the same group as you and I, and they will be leaving comments on Dana's videos. And unfortunately, the same thing is going to happen to them as us. you end up being banned as soon as Dana realizes that you're producing a photo, an image, a video, a link to a video that's going to discredit everything that he said or even some of it. Boom, you're gone. He does not want that. We all know that. Kevin Blanch is the same thing. So those of you that are listening right now and Dana's allowing you to leave comments, I'm just telling you right now that the day will come where you realize that Dana's full of shit, and when you come to leave a comment discrediting his information or going against his trend, watch out, your days are done. You will no longer, you'll see for yourself. You'll be able to leave a comment, but log off YouTube and refresh that YouTube video that you just left the comment on and scroll on down to the comments, and you'll quickly realize your comment is gone. This is how these people play this game. Okay, I just want you to know that when you do wake up, it's almost pointless to go against them. Okay, and that's another thing. People already sent me emails and they mentioned that they know that the people know that he bans everyone that speaks out and has tried to provide evidence. But the good thing is they're still doing searches on Fukushima, and they come across my videos and they're like, oh, okay, yeah, I get it now. So one of the big things here, as I've been saying, is how they all interconnect. So her featured channels, Red Ice Radio with the web bots, and I was getting into that because the web bots, they were saying when Fukushima went down, there would be a mass exodus. That's right. We're all leaving the United States to North America. And in fact, if I'm not 100% sure, I think he said something from the 52nd parallel down, or I can't even quote. I remember we looked on the map what parallel it was, and he was saying that we're leaving the United States and we're all heading down to South America. Oh yeah, it was what was it? A train of, I can't remember what he called it. He's good at these names, eh? Cliff High, that's apparently his name. Anyways, long story short, Red Ice is part of that gang. They promote the bullshit. Richie Allen, Richie Allen, was Dana not on the Richie Allen show a couple of times? Bada boom, bada bing, you got it right. You folks are catching on here. So that's exactly what's going on. That's why he doesn't mind speaking about that woman, because it's going to lead them right back here. And it's about keeping that, I'm sorry for the term if it's going to offend you, but it is a circle jerk of corruption. These guys all hang out together and they all promote each other at one point. They'll even pretend to hate each other at one point. I think that's probably what stands me apart from all of them, is that I've realized they're pretty much all freaking crooked. This is what I've realized. Like I said, I've been out here since 2009, so I'm only sharing with you what I've observed. You can go down your own path and, wake up at your own speed. That's okay. I'm just trying to give you a little boost there so you get there a little quicker, if you know what I mean. So in this latest story, well, it's the same thing, However, in this story here, Sophia, again, it's about disinformation. And what did he go deal with? Dana is not tackling Sophia Smallstorm on just by accident. The reason why he's gone after Sophia is because my video from last night, and he actually says that, you folks can go listen to it if you want. It's where is it? It's that video that I just had there a second ago. Hold on, right here. Okay, the April 28th. I think he says it probably, I don't know, 8, 9, 10. I can't remember here. Actually, I haven't even made it the whole video, honestly, because I can't stand listening to the guy anymore. It's upsetting. It's disturbing. I don't want to listen to him. It's a bad nightmare listening to it. It's like having, I don't know if you can stand having a baby cry, but ever since I had a little sister, and I could not stand having a baby cry. So I do everything I could. Oh, come on, go on. I do anything I could to get the baby to stop. In this case here, I can't get this baby to stop. He doesn't want to debate. He's a coward. So in Sophia's, the reason why he's gone after Sophia was because of last night's video. And Dana says it, like I said, go in there. He specifically says that Dots guy he's very, what's the term he used? I forget now, but basically I do my homework is what he's trying to get at. And it's not about the face for me. It's about pulling the facts and making sense of the story. And that's why in last night's video, if you go watch it, I make a whole lot of sense. You'll figure out for yourself why the whales are dying. And I make a very strong point that if the radiation is so strong in the Pacific Ocean that we have mass, not just one whale slightly dying from radiation, mass, according to them, right? You remember the sei whales, SEI, down in South America, Chile, off the coast of Chile? That was a mass. So they all hit, and they're deep water whales on top of that. So they all ran into a big, huge, massive dose of radiation, and they all washed up and died, right? Well, that's what they're telling everyone. I'm just using their common sense to try and make common sense out of it. So in my video, I said, well, if the radiation is that high, such high levels, to the point where we have massive, how many tons is this whale? 4 tons, 6, I don't know, but it's a big whale, and all, there are various sizes. So if the radiation in the Pacific Ocean is that strong that it's washing up whales loaded with radiation because they're swimming in it, they're eating the fish, they're dying in it. Well, I was telling folks, well, in that case, well, all the fish should be washing up. We should all go walk. This should be on 6 o'clock news. Everything is washing up on shore. It's all dead. Why? Because there's radiation that's so strong out there. It's killed everything. Well, that's what we're being told. I'm just telling you. Dana says that even on where I live on the West Coast here, he says the nursery beds are all wiped out. That's funny, eh? All these people that happen to walk by the beaches got these cottages, these big, big, beautiful mansions. There's people down on the beach. There's loads of fishermen right here on the island where I live. I have a friend that works at the fish farm, and I have another friend that works at the seafood plant where the fish come in. She's a wholesaler. She has no problem getting fish. She lives in Tofino. Colette deals with fish all the time. She says, you folks thinking that fish are dying from Fukushima radiation? She says, I'm not going to say that there's no radiation, possibly in the odd one, but she says the radiation is certainly not killing off the fish. I'm like, yeah, I know that. There's no doubt about it, because people would be talking about it. There's tons of fish washing up dead. The whales are washing up. The radiation is so high it's killing the whales. Therefore, it must be killing everything. Octopus, shrimp, you name it, it's dead. It has to be, because the big mammals are washing up dead. If, like I said, go watch the video. You'll have it figured out. And oddly enough, Dana watched the video himself. And it was at that point he realized, oh, hold on a second, I got to go deal with this. So what he did is he went after Sophia Small Storm, because she happens to speak about the same thing as I do. Okay. And I have to make sure I don't play this, because these people would love nothing more than to get me on a copyright strike on Connecting Dots too. Okay, folks. So that's why I can't even play the video. They are so desperate at this point to get me off the YouTube. They will pull at anything. And as I've shown you before, YouTube does not even question it. They just go ahead and file the copyright, and it's up to us, me, the YouTuber, to try and get out of it. Chances are I won't get out of it, okay? So in last night's show, I shared that my Connecting Dots 3 YouTube channel has also been hit with a copyright strike for the exact same video that was uploaded in January of 2015, where I said, that's it, guys, I'm done. The gloves are off. These people know that I'm serious. They know that I can make a video. They know when I get upset, I dig it even harder. So yes, push my buttons. Please push them. No, they won't push them, trust me. That's why he'll go after Sophia, because he's an absolute coward. He knows that if he got in the ring with me, not a fist fight, I'm talking about a debate in that type of ring, Dana doesn't stand a chance. I'll give him 5 minutes. He can give me 5 minutes. We'll go back and forth. Let's do it for an hour. You folks can tell me who makes more sense. This Yahoo who's pulling out stories from 2011, because this is what he does, to try and discredit Sophia. He goes right back on the same rambling where he's pulling out stories from 2011 to try and back up how the radiation is so high here that, oh, jeez, honestly, I can't even go over it. So at this point in the video, he goes over how he's done all of these areas here, and he still has to do the green parts. Please send me some more money. Don't send him a damn penny, folks, because if he's going to call himself a nuclear proctologist, then by golly gee, he better go out and buy himself some radiation detecting instruments like I did in 2011 when I left my city of Victoria. I live right down here in the city of Victoria on Vancouver Island. This is the island where I live. My friend Colette there works at the seafood shop. She's up here in Tofino. You guys ever want to come out to the island, you come out and see me, and I'll hook you up at a nice, beautiful place, nice holiday. Anyways, long story short, Victoria here, I hopped on the ferry, landed in Vancouver. I drove back and forth across Canada in 2011, and I had 2 Geiger counters. Can you imagine if I'd been running around in 2011 back and forth with just a camera and taking pictures and saying to folks, well, I was driving down the highway here, I took some pictures, and I didn't see any bugs at all. Fukushima must have killed everything. And don't laugh, folks, because he actually did that at one point. He was in Duncan, BC, okay, which is right here in the middle of the island. He was in Duncan. Oh, sorry. Where is it? Yeah, right about here, I think. I heard it's hard to see right now, but he was in Duncan, BC. Sorry, not Duncan. He was in Port Alberni, British Columbia. It's in the middle of the island before you get out to Tofino and Ucluelet. He was in Port Alberni, and he's out there on his wheelchair pretending that he can't walk. And by now, most of you have realized he can walk. And essentially, he's driving his scooter down the side of the road, off the side of the highway. You know, there's some gravel and broken down tire bits and pieces and stuff and garbage thrown out the windows. Yeah, down that stretch. He's driving down that stretch. It's not full of tires and garbage, though. But I think there were some broken up tires or pieces of it. Long story short, he's got his camera focused down at the crushed stone, and he's telling people, well, everything's dead here. There's nothing here. I've been driving up and down my scooter on the side of the road, and I'm filming it all, and there's nothing here. It's all dead. My friend lived in Port Alberni. He still does at this time. Ernest sent me an email. He's like, is that guy crazy or what? I'm like, no, he's a fraudster. He's a scammer. He's a fraudster. He's taking pictures, videotaping areas where he knows there's nothing there. Not once have we ever seen a before and after picture of the same location so we can compare it to either pre-Fukushima or even the picture that was taken in 2011 and then compare it at the exact same spot in 2015 or even, 2016, heck, even 2012. Like I said, folks, give me a before and after picture of the same spot. He can't do that. And if you remember, I spoke about Jeff Palco. I'm sure if you're a regular listener of Fukushima, you've heard of how Jeff Palco actually, took a loan on his home and bought Dana this boat so he can go out on this trek. And that was, part of Jeff Palco's wakening up awareness. That's what he said in his videos. He says, not once has Dana ever provided us with a before and after picture of the same location. He takes different locations or pictures from different locations, even though they may have been taken somewhere along the same stretch of beach. It doesn't matter. This is the way it is in Vancouver on the ocean, folks. You can have one stretch of beach, there's nothing, and all of a sudden you get into another area and there's lots of life there. And then you go back down to a sandy beach area. Oh, well, there's not much into the sandy beach area except for certain types of crabs and certain types of minnows. I'm telling you, that's the way it is on the ocean. Then you go to another area, I was like, holy jeez, it's just booming with life here. That's the way it is. You can't go everywhere and expect to find, he's telling people that there are 5,500 species, marine species. I'm not making this stuff up. This is where, those of us that live on Vancouver Island or even on the ocean, we just chuckle at all of this. He's now telling people that there are 5,500 species that have vanished from the nursery beds along our coastline. Oh boy. So anyways, he's dealing with Sophia because Sophia gets into the Navy, which is the theme that I was speaking about last night. If you haven't seen that video, like I said, go check it out. You might want to skip the little bit beginning of here where I ramble about my own personal Fukushima adventures. And then somewhere along in this 50-minute video and near the end, I get into tackling with the Navy and showing sharing the articles like I'm about to do again tonight. Because in his video, while he's dealing with the fact that Sophia had mentioned that it's not Fukushima killing the whales, it's the Navy. And she goes on to speak about how the seals, you may recall, we had the blob, that's what it was called, the warm water off the west coast here, and it, basically the seals were attacked by these toxins. The crabs, you couldn't eat the crabs, and that's not the first time, except this time here, this breakout lasted much longer, and it was much bigger and affected a much larger area. And essentially, she talks about how we had seals back then that were skinny. They were suffering from the toxins. Some of the parents had been died while they were out there in the ocean trying to get some fish for the babies. They got into the toxins, and essentially the red tide. That's specifically what it's called. That red tide, the toxins. They went into a shaking event, which is what Sophia speaks about in her video. Well, it's again, that's disinformation. It's not the Navy that did that. It's what I just said. What it was the blob. You can actually do a YouTube search on that, the blob, B-L-O-B, and you'll find out that it's a phenomenon that took place out in the Pacific Ocean in 2014, 2015. Okay, it was a big event. In fact, they're still speaking about it right now. The only good news I got out of that is the blob is diminishing. So they're hoping it doesn't return this summer. We'll see. So the other story is, like I said, Sophia is disinformation. She's part of that gang. And you saw who's on her featured channels. I don't know what to say, folks. As soon as I saw how Sophia was being mentioned, Dana won't dare speak my name, won't dare, he'll call me Dots, but no connecting dots too, won't dare put my name in the name of the video, won't dare, like I do, come out and actually show the video that he's speaking about to try and, so people can get the other side of the story. Oh, I'll go listen to what this guy had to say, and I'll go off what the connecting dots too had to say, and I'll figure out from there if they're full of shit or what, right? That's only makes sense, right? So that's why I don't mind showing you folks. There's the video there. You can go listen to it. It's the same hogwash bullshit that he's been pulling on people all along, okay? Nothing's changed. Showing the same pictures, and this is before Fukushima and after Fukushima. There are stretches of beaches like this all over British Columbia. Nothing new. So I don't want to spend much more time on this guy for tonight. I'll wait and see here if he's going to promote more bullshit, and then I'll help you connect the dots on that. But so far, you've seen the the group, the Richie Allen, and now I'm going to get into, the dead whales. Like I said, you're getting one side of the story. So the reason why I believe that this pod is doing well is, if you're listening to me in 2014, I actually called a gentleman who does fishing tours, and he happened coincidentally to live in Powell River. Does anyone remember that interview? And by the way, if you want to go listen to it, like I said, all my stuff is on my YouTube channel in the Fukushima playlist. It's called Fukushima Day at YouTube channel Connecting Dots too. You'll find that playlist. And at some point, I spoke to someone in Dana's town, and the gentleman owns a fish shop. I'm just scrolling down here to see if I can find it. And essentially, the gentleman went on to explain how Dana's absolutely lying. He went on to say how the orcas are here all the time. He says back in the day, we would get excited when we would see the orcas, out front here in Powell River. So I'm just going to show you where that is here in a second, where Powell River is. I'm just looking down here to see if I can find that radio show, so you folks can, anyone who wants to listen to the radio show, I always like doing that. I want to provide, the proof to what I'm speaking about. So anyone wants to try and debunk me, which they can't. You'll notice here there's no YouTube videos calling out connecting dots to debunking me. They can't. They can't. Nobody even wants to debate me. Like I said, I put a $3,000, you know, debate. Come and debate. Okay, I can't find that thing, unfortunately, right now. I was hoping I could find. Okay, there we go. Fukushima, $3,000 fraudulent coward. Dana hires a detective and lawyer. That's when he hired a detective and lawyer to find out where I lived. I couldn't believe it. He wanted to find out who my name was, where I lived, and he was going to promote this on YouTube. I'm like, wow. It's called, what's it called? Doxing? Doxing? I'm like, wow, that's neat. He's going to be doxing dots instead of just coming out and debating me. Like I said, real cowards here. Okay, I'm going to have to give up on this thing because I can't find this interview. I was really hoping I could find this interview because, and I know what it looks like because I put the guy's fish shop on the front of the video thumbnail. So it's a light green shop and it has a fish jumping over the front of it. So those of you that do go through my playlist, you can hopefully find it. And essentially what he was sharing was the fact that, Powell River, yes, that in Powell River, he says, we never had the orcas running around. And he says, now we have the orcas every day. He says, we see them all the time. Okay. So this is Powell River. Dana lives in this trailer park down here. And essentially, I live on the island. He has to take a ferry to come over to where I am. I live on Vancouver Island. You just saw my friends Tofino right here. Okay. Tofino, the fish plant. So long story short, he was talking about how he was seeing these orcas every day now. And if you listen to the whole video, he speaks about, he believes part of the reason why is there was a massive run of herring. I can't remember. You'd have to go listen to the video, but he says from such a town down to such a town, there's roughly, I don't know, hundreds of kilometers or 200. I can't remember. I wish I could remember. I'd give the exact number. That'd be great. But all I remember is him talking about how the orcas were now every day out in Powell River and how the herring have returned. Massive school of herrings. I can't remember. Maybe it's Seashell de Lund, because I do remember him speaking about Lund. You'd have to go listen to it. So it's kind of ironic that Dana's saying everything's dead. All the nurseries are dead here, yet he lives right in Powell River, and there's a guy out there doing boat tours every darn day. Every day he's doing boat tours. Like I said, folks, we all live by the ocean. It's not some guy living in a trailer park who apparently was in a wheelchair who's gone out on a 9-day drive along the coastline, because that's essentially what he did, okay? He hopped in a car and drove. He didn't have a boat. He admitted that he stopped at provincial parks that were near the ocean, and he couldn't even walk down to the parks. He had to have his friend go down to the beach and take pictures. And that's what they came back and made a video in August 2014 telling everyone that the Pacific Ocean was dead. So the reason why these orcas, the stories that I'm about to get in here, the reason why they are booming is because the orca pod that we're speaking about, this is their area. This is where they hang out. Okay? Even in my hometown here in the city of Victoria, we have all kinds of whale tours that all begin right down here. In fact, here, why don't we just go in live here? And we also have about, what, 2,000 cruise ships per year that, yeah, sometimes like 3 or 4 of them per day. It's a very busy area. That's why I decided to go down with my camera in 2014 and film some of my beach so you folks can see, hey, I'm in a very busy area. Look at all the marine life right here. Anyways, so there's a lot of these boat tours that leave here. Actually, they're actually off on the other side, if I'm not mistaken here, most of them. And essentially, they go out and look at whales. And believe you me, if the whales were all dead and the fish were all gone and there was 5,000 species missing, then in that case, we sure as heck would not have a baby boom. Yeah. The 2015 baby boom. How many babies? Up to 6. That's right. They were they were shocked. They were shocked at how many. Like I said, this is even an endangered pod here. So I live here on the West Coast. If the Fukushima radiation had killed everything, and like he said, all these nursery beds were totally annihilated, then what are these? How are they? Exactly. They're there because they're eating something. The mothers have to feed. The babies have to feed. It's because there's fish there, and there's a lot of fish, just like the gentleman was saying. And it's not the herring that is the main diet. Okay. In fact, I'll almost bet the orcas don't even eat herring. They're after the big fish, just like the fishermen are after. Okay. The gentleman who does these fish tours, he's after the salmon. That's what these guys are after. In fact, orcas even eat other whales. Certain whales, they'll go after and eat them. Bigger whales than them, in fact, much bigger. So they have a very varied diet. And if everything was dead on the West Coast, these 5,500 species, then it would trickle down the effect, and everything would be wiped out by now. Come on, it's been 2011 or 2016. 5 years later, and you're going to tell me everything is not wiped out, but yet the whales are washing up dead from radiation? I hope you're understanding this, eh? For those of you that are new to this is why I like making these videos. It's we need some truth here on YouTube, and it's just not coming from this gang. So I'm going to end the show here, and I'll remind you that I keep a track of these stories, and I forgot to continue on in this one earlier, but I was talking about how one of the big things I'd found is how there was increasing levels of radiation that were found in fish caught off the Fukushima prefecture, okay? In this first story, they're only 20 kilometers north of the plant, and there are 258 times the legal limit of cesium, okay? And then just a little later on, this was in January of 2013. The first story was in August of 2012. So just, about roughly 6 months later, another test, and what do we have? 2,500 times the cesium limit. And then a little later on after that, in February, highest levels detected so far, 5,000 times above the government limit. So this is why I want to purchase that gamma spectrometer that I keep speaking about, okay? That's why, because we need a gamma spectrometer. We need someone who's going to do some real independent testing. We can't trust the government, and if you don't know about that, well, you'll have to go watch my the video I have set up here for new visitors. It's called Fukushima Day 1205. The FDA lied, absolutely lied. In fact, it's the main video that I promote on the Fukushima Day, because I want you folks to understand that for us to know that it's radiation, we don't need a camera. We need radiation testing equipment. And we need proper testing. And that's the point that I made in the Fukushima 1205, is how the FDA is absolutely lying to you, doing improper testing, not testing the right species of fish. Go listen to the video. You'll have it wrapped up in 15 minutes. And yeah, like I have two Geiger counters. That's the digital one here when I got Fukushima rain fallout in Vancouver, Banff, Toronto, and Ottawa. They weren't all my findings, but the Banff one is the area where I got the highest levels of radiation when I did my tour in 2011. Okay, so yeah, the baby boomer of orcas, and I'm going to remind everyone that the website here is free to join, connectingdots1.com. And I'm going to end the show here, because now I want to go over and see what they've spammed in my comments, and I'll probably cut it out. So that's why I'm saying good night, sleep tight, and I'll see you probably tomorrow night, because I plan on having these shows here 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 4 p.m. Pacific time, 5 p.m. Mountain time, 7 p.m. Eastern time.